This is the Black Bay Chrono. So again, this is kind of a faux unboxing, like my last few unboxings. It's not brand new. I've had this watch for a minute, but I want you to see what you get when you get the box. So here it is, Tudor, paper box, a little bit of foam protective material here. Inner box, still kind of a paper material, a little fake leather maybe. There's our watch. So you get a little guide on how to use a watch. You get a warranty booklet, and then you get a warranty card, international guarantee card. And then here is our watch. So in the box, there's a little pull tab here if you need it. Help you pull the watch out. There it is. Thing of beauty. Let's just get rid of the box. So first thing, little kind of a hideaway there. These watches come with 2 straps if you get the metal bracelet. You get the bracelet, and then you get this cloth, this fabric strap. And Tudor has a whole spiel about how these are made in this special factory in France and blah, blah, blah. It's a really nice fabric strap. It is not a double, loop through NATO kind of thing. So it does have spring bars built into this, and that holds it in place. It's nice. It makes it slimmer. It's really lightweight. It's got the Tudor logo for your clasp. It's not my thing. And the reason that I wouldn't use this, I'm sure it looks great with it. This is a blue, which is kind of weird to go with a black-faced watch. But the watch head itself is pretty large on this one, being a 41.5 millimeter watch head, and it's pretty thick. And so when you have a big old heavy watch head and you have this absolutely weightless fabric strap, it feels very unbalanced. So now that we've addressed that, let's move past it. This is an amazing watch. So I have tried on a bunch of the Black Bays, and really what kills me is I need a date on my watches. And so this was the second Black Bay to have a date. There is a Black Bay Steel that has a 3 o'clock date on it. This one has our 6 o'clock date, which is my preference, and I'm also kind of into chronos. This is very reminiscent of some of the older chronographs that Tudor has made. It's a 2-register chronograph. It's quirky in that it's a 45-minute sub-register. Let's see if I can get that there. There it is. 45-minute chronograph. So you don't get 30 minutes and then a 12-hour counter. You don't just get 30 minutes, you get 45. It does have the snowflake hands, which is the thing that I love about Tudor. I love the snowflake hands. And that's also kind of the controversy behind this watch, is that those snowflake, well, just the hour hand really, does obscure the chronograph register between 2 and 4 p.m. Or a.m. as well, just 2 and 4. And so if you need to read that chronograph register, you might have to do a little kind of like tilting and bobbing on this watch to get an angle where you can see what that register is reading. And you can see that the running seconds and the chronograph register are silver, and they're not the easiest things in the world to see on this black dial. I mean, lighting really helps, but it's just not super easy. It's not super legible. That being said, I think those are the only negative aspects of this watch. So the head is heavy, the chronograph register is obscured during certain times of the day, and honestly, how often are you using the chronograph register to read anything anyway? In fact, the the tachometer bezel is not super easy to read, but it doesn't matter. No one's measuring their speed over a measured mile. You know, it's just kind of it's all for looks. This is a screw down chronograph pusher. So we've got here screw down pushers. So let's go ahead and unscrew those. You cannot engage the chronograph if you have these screwed down. So, but now, and there we go. Now this chronograph movement, I guess you can call it in-house for Tudor. It's part of a deal with Breitling where they provide the movement for the Black Bay, that in-house Tudor movement to Breitling, and then Breitling provides them with this movement. Now, this is modified by Tudor because it's a 3-register when they get it from Breitling, and in this case they have, I think they've bumped up the hours of power reserve. So this is a 70-hour power reserve on this guy, and they have removed that 3rd register, and then you get a 6 o'clock date. It is a super crisp chronograph, so you can hear it, that column wheel snapping in and out of engagement. It's beautiful. And you can see there also, just as you hit 1 minute, the sub-register engages and registers 1 minute. So it's not continually running that sub-register. It does tick over at the exact minute, or right about the exact minute. The reset, super crisp, feels great, great feedback. The screw down pushers, you know, because I don't use the chronograph that often, they're really not that annoying. They're more kind of an aesthetic thing. It does aid in this watch being a 200-meter water-resistant watch. Now, you can maybe see it there in red, 200-meter. That is just like the Black Bay, you know, a really water-resistant watch. Now, it's not a dive watch because there's no dive bezel, but you can wear this anywhere. It's a really capable sports watch, and it's pretty well made to take a beating. I guess the second thing that people would provide criticism about this watch over is the bracelet. This bracelet is a faux rivet bracelet, and so this is really just a throwback to old bracelets that were riveted together to give you kind of end caps rather than folded metal. These are solid bracelet links. They just have these fake little rivets on the end. It really doesn't bother me at all. I honestly don't even notice it. You do see there's like a little line here on the edges to provide that faux rivet look. But, you know, it's a really nice, really buttery smooth bracelet. I would say my criticism of any Tudor bracelet outside of the Pelagos is that it doesn't have on-the-fly adjustment. So this is a Tudor. Tudor is essentially owned by the same company as Rolex, or owned by Rolex. Rolex has a lot of on-the-fly adjustment options in their clasps, and they don't provide those to Tudor in most places. The Pelagos is an exception. The Pelagos has an amazing clasp. It's kind of like an industry-leading clasp at its price point. So this one, still a great clasp. Something that I love about Tudor is that they use ceramic ball bearings. And what that means is it's not going to wear down. That bearing isn't going to wear down the same way a metal one would with this metal on metal contact. You can see a slight scratch there on the inside, and then that little divot where the bearing slips into, where it snaps. But it gives it a really firm, secure, you know that it's clicked in. Those ball bearings are on the outside, and I believe on the inside here. There you can see right there, that ball bearing that clips in. So it is, again, just, even though it's not on the fly adjustable, it is a really nice clasp. Some small micro adjustments, it'd be nice if they had more of those, or if they provided half links. They don't. It wasn't really an issue for me. I wear my bracelets pretty loose anyway. But it's a great bracelet despite the criticism over its faux rivets. It is 22 millimeters. It's a big, you know, a big end link on this. They do a good job though at tapering down the lugs, you know, to make it slim. So you don't have big, thick, ugly lugs. You don't have that maxi style lug and then a huge, you know, lug width as well. It's a pretty big lug width though. If we rotate around, solid end links. Unlike the Pelagos, these don't have that, you know, the rubber attachment or the association with the fabric bracelet or fabric strap. When you take this bracelet off, these end links come off as well. High polished sides, although you can see mine is scratched to hell. It's a lot of shiny for a big watch. Brushed lugs on the top, wholly brushed bracelet, and then radially brushed tachometer bezel. The dial is flat, and I love flat black. It makes everything really easy to read. Those dished sub-registers are great as well. They provide some kind of dimensionality to the dial. You can see it a little more easily because it's dished like that. And the markers, the indices on this, so you've got a little metal surround and then a lume plot. Everywhere except for the triangle at 12 is a circle, obviously. Triangle 12, just an indicator of which way's up. The lume on this is great. I will throw in a lume shot here. So you can see there is a lot of lume on those hands and a decent amount on the applied indices. That snowflake hand is really easily identifiable. There's no mistaking what the hour hand is and what the minute hand is. It's pretty clear. Pretty even application of the lume, although I will say if I really stare at it, it looks like it's slightly lacking dead center of the hour hand. But given the size of that lume plot, it's understandable that they might have to thin it out just a little bit in the center. The chronograph hand has no, the seconds and the minute hand on that have no lume applied, and neither does the running second. My one criticism of that lume is it's not BGW9 or whatever variant of that Tudor and Rolex want to use. It is a green lume. I want blue lume. After having the Pelagos, it's amazing. On the Rolex, it's amazing. This should be blue lume. That's a personal preference. If you're into the super lumen of that green lume, that's great for you. That's what this watch has. So this is again, 200 meter water resistant watch, screw down crown, big unguarded crown. It has a DLC coated crown stem there. So you see that black crown stem. I like that. I think it's a little kind of a sporty look to it. You really don't notice it unless you're wearing the watch. Super smooth to unscrew it, as you would expect from a Tudor. Super smooth to hand wind it. It is an automatic, but it has hand winding hacking. First position, well, let's pull it all the way out actually. Second position is to adjust the time. Nothing fancy there. And then when we're going around to the date change, right on at 12. It's perfect and it's a quick change. It's beautiful. Let's get it down. That first position, all it is your date adjust. Simple enough. Push it back in, screw it back down. I didn't mention this before, but it's a screw down case back. I feel like I kind of shouldn't have to, given that it's a Black Bay. And it has that Rolex style grip for removing the case back. Signed crown with the Tudor rose. Tudor rose there, black kind of embossed, and then Tudor shield on the dial. This is a big watch. In daily wear, it's a big watch. It's comfortable for me, but it's not unnoticed. You know, it doesn't easily slip under a dress shirt, although you can get away with it. It's a big, heavy, noticeable watch. And it's thick. Let's take a look at how thick it is, actually. 15 millimeters thick. That's a big watch. And then we got lug to lug. Yeah, we're looking at around 49 millimeter lug to lug. And then if we want to do 41, so 41 millimeter across, 22 tapers down very slightly, I think, to 20 at the clasp. Let's do a wrist shot. So there it is on wrist. Yeah, she's big. It's comfortable. It's definitely sporty. You don't have to worry about water. You don't have to worry about bashing it up. As you can see, I beat mine up pretty well and it keeps ticking. You should probably go try it on before buying it. I think it's definitely worth going into an AD or even just a reseller, whatever, and getting this on wrist before you decide that this is the watch for you. It's a big watch. Something I forgot to mention, if you look there, you can see the crystal does step up slightly above the bezel, but it's a very soft kind of shelf here. It's not it's not a sharp angled flat top. It is a very gently domed crystal here, and it is a sapphire crystal. And that domed sapphire crystal does aid in putting it under a cuff. So some final thoughts. This 70-hour power reserve and an in-house movement, in air quotes, the 70-hour power reserve makes a big difference in its wearability. If you're someone like me that rotates through watches pretty frequently, you can put it down and you can pick it up a few days later and still have it set and not have to worry about setting your watch before you run out the door. I really like this watch. Every time I look at it, it gives me joy. It's a beautiful sort of semi-retro, very tool, very rough watch. Let me know what you think about this guy. They have a couple different variants of this now. They have one in gold. They have one in all black. The two-tone gold came on a bund strap. That's a thing I would never wear. Also, two-tone just really doesn't do it for me, but obviously people really enjoy that watch. So Tudor knows what they're doing. I will throw up some stats right here. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave them, and I will get to answering them as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching.